Rita, a stunning 5 feet 9 inches fair-complexioned woman, married Joshua, a successful CEO in the oil and gas industry. Living in Abuja, Nigeria, they built a happy family with 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. While Joshua's career flourished, Rita owned a thriving restaurant selling African dishes, making their life even more fulfilling. The family's unity and joy were unmatched, with every member contributing to the bond they cherished. However, things took a turn when Joshua was transferred to Lagos as a board director in his company's head office. While Rita initially accepted this change, it left her managing their children alone. Over time, she poured all her love and attention into ensuring her children grew up to be responsible adults, particularly her only daughter, Precious. Precious, a petite, slim, and gorgeous young woman with long, neatly braided African hair, was her mother's pride. When she enrolled at FCT University in Abuja to study biochemistry, Rita's overprotectiveness heightened. Fearing Precious might fall into bad company, Rita crafted a rigid routine for her. Precious was chauffeured to and from school, had limited social interactions, and wasn't allowed to go out without permission. Though Precious respected her mother's intentions, she felt suffocated. The lack of freedom began to weigh on her, making her long for independence. Her classmates admired her beauty and intelligence but often wondered why she was so reserved. As Precious approached her final year, she looked forward to completing her studies and breaking free from her mother's tight grip. When it was time for her National Youth Service Corps (NYSC), she deliberately chose Lagos to stay with her father, hoping for a fresh start. Joshua, understanding her desire for space, rented a luxurious apartment for her. Rita, however, wasn't pleased. She argued with Joshua about Precious leaving her side, fearing she might fall prey to the wrong influences. Eventually, Joshua's insistence won, and Precious left for Lagos, marking the beginning of a new chapter in her life. In Lagos, Precious experienced the freedom she had longed for. She met new people, enjoyed the city's vibrancy, and started seeing life differently. Her father supported her independence and encouraged her to explore her career aspirations. However, Rita's frequent calls and attempts to micromanage Precious's life created tension. After completing her NYSC, Precious decided to return to Abuja to avoid further straining her relationship with her mother. But she dreaded falling back into her mother's suffocating routine. Back in Abuja, Rita imposed stricter rules on Precious, insisting she stay home until she found a job. Despite Precious's efforts to secure a position in her field, Rita dismissed opportunities that weren't close to home or under her control. Instead, she arranged for Precious to work with her best friend, Funmeleo, an event planner. Before Precious started working with Funmeleo, the 2 women met at Rita's house. Funmeleo, a charismatic and stylish woman, was delighted to catch up with her longtime friend. Over cups of steaming tea, they reminisced about old times and discussed their businesses. Funmeleo spoke proudly of her thriving event planning company, while Rita shared updates about her restaurant's success. Their conversation soon shifted to Precious. Rita expressed her worries about her daughter falling into bad company, lamenting the challenges of raising children in modern times. She wondered aloud if her strictness was excessive and if she was being too overprotective. Funmeleo quickly reassured her, saying, "You're doing the right thing, Rita. You're the one in control, not Precious. Don't let any doubt creep in. You can't give room for weakness." Encouraged by her friend's words, Rita resolved to maintain her firm stance, believing it was for her daughter's own good. Precious reluctantly accepted the job, knowing it came with constant monitoring and reports to her mother. Folklore welcomed Precious warmly but couldn't ignore Rita's overprotective tendencies. One afternoon, Folklore sent Precious to deliver a letter to a neighboring law firm. There, she met Harry, a tall, fair, and fit young man who claimed to be the firm's secretary. Over several days, Harry repeatedly told Precious that the recipient of her letter, Mr. Louis, was unavailable. Frustrated, Precious finally discovered that Harry was Mr. Louis's son and had been pranking her. Though furious, Precious couldn't deny Harry's charm. He later apologized with a lunchbox, but this act only added to Precious's troubles when Folklore questioned the gesture. Precious's fear of her mother's reaction made her reject Harry's peace offering, but Harry remained persistent. Despite her initial annoyance, Precious found herself drawn to Harry's humor and kindness. They began talking more, often sharing laughs about their initial misunderstanding. Their friendship grew in secrecy, as Precious feared her mother's wrath if she found out. Harry admired Precious's intelligence and strength, while she appreciated his carefree approach to life. Their bond deepened, but the fear of being discovered loomed over them. One evening, while Precious was leaving work, Harry appeared unexpectedly and offered her a ride. Though hesitant, Precious accepted. During the drive, Harry shared a secret about his family's struggles, making Precious see him in a new light. But their conversation was interrupted by a car that seemed to be following them. The mysterious car tailing them heightened the tension. Harry quickly maneuvered through traffic to lose the follower. When they finally stopped, Precious was shaken, and Harry admitted he suspected someone was monitoring his father's law firm. Precious, though scared, found the situation oddly exhilarating. After the incident, Harry and Precious grew closer. Harry revealed more about his life, including his strained relationship with his father and his aspirations to become a lawyer. Precious shared her frustrations about her mother's control and her dreams of pursuing a career in biochemistry. Their late-night calls became a routine, and they found solace in each other. But Precious knew her mother would never approve, adding a layer of secrecy to their growing bond. On Precious's birthday, Rita tried to mend their relationship with a cake and a heartfelt gesture. However, Precious's wish revealed her longing for independence, leaving Rita hurt and confused. Later that day, Harry surprised Precious with a grand celebration at work, complete with gifts, drinks, and a cake. The celebration turned sour when Folklore walked in and caught Precious and Harry together. Furious, she reported the incident to Rita, who decided to take drastic action. The next morning, Rita confronted Precious and forbade her from returning to work. Precious stood her ground, arguing that she was old enough to make her own decisions. The argument escalated, with Rita locking Precious in her room for 2 days without food or water. On the third day, their confrontation became physical. In a tragic moment, Rita accidentally caused Precious to hit her head on a drawer, leaving her unconscious and bleeding. Panicking, Rita rushed her daughter to the hospital. When Joshua learned of the incident, he immediately traveled to Abuja. He decided to take Precious back to Lagos, leaving Rita devastated. At the hospital, Rita tearfully apologized to Precious, revealing the trauma she had endured as a young woman. She admitted that her overprotectiveness stemmed from a desire to protect Precious from repeating her mistakes. Precious, though understanding, insisted on living her own life. She moved to Lagos with her father, determined to pursue her dreams. Back in Lagos, Precious found the freedom she had always desired. She reconnected with Harry, who supported her aspirations. Together, they began planning their futures, with Precious considering further studies abroad. Meanwhile, Rita began to reflect on her actions and sought therapy to address her past trauma. She realized that letting go was an essential part of loving her children. Precious and Harry's relationship blossomed, and they became inseparable. With Joshua's support, Precious applied to study biochemistry abroad, marking the start of a new chapter in her life. Rita, though still struggling, finally accepted that her daughter needed to chart her own path. The story ends with Precious boarding a plane to her future, holding Harry's hand, and looking forward to the life she had always dreamed of. Rita, watching from afar, smiled through her tears, knowing she had done her best. Moral lesson: overprotectiveness, though often born out of love, can stifle growth and independence. Parents must trust their children to make their own decisions and learn from their experiences. Healthy communication, self-reflection, and mutual respect are key to building strong, lasting relationships.